Hey my immortal nerds, nice having you again in 2024 to my new video where I want to show you some build infos, combination tricks and gem rankings for low resonance players. Free to play is absolutely enjoyable in Diablo Immortal, and how to achieve it for PvE content is all within this video. When we look at the many different possible PvE contents we have there, this guide and the build I will show you in here will cover the open world farm where you need to be fast and deal a lot of crowd damage, the clan tower runs where you need to be fast, the dungeon set farm where it's a combination of crowd damage and single target damage for the bosses, the hidden lairs where you need to survive a bit and deal more damage, the elder rifts, and what it will not take care of is a trial of the hordes because it needs too much survivability. The challenge rifts, again, you need to be staying alive a lot, raid bosses, too much single target DPS, and the endless defense where you need mostly the CC. So those are very special combinations that I will not handle in this video, but the rest and the most important and most played content for PvE is covered in here. So for all content in this video, I reduced my resonance to 780, only rank 1 and 2 gems here, and I removed all of my secondary gems to kind of show you that this build can produce damage on its own. Of course, I have a lot of passives and warband and paragon and all of that, but every free-to-play gamer has that too. So we're dealing our damage with the Wrath of the Berserker, the Leap, the Chained Spear, and the Sunder in combination with the Lacerate. As you see, you can in the early boost peak to nearly 1 million damage, and then it gets step by step down until finally 500k. But this is enough to nearly kill all the bosses and do your share of the damage. So when you go like crazy and you say, okay, but I want to develop even as a free-to-play, I show you here with all the rank 10 gems on the 1 and 2 star possible or valid gems, and with some of the secondary gems equipped, that this build really can produce really good damage. For the legendaries, I tried to find all-round legendary combinations that let you tackle all of the different contents by ease. And for that you have different requirements, like for the open world farm you need to be fast, for the dungeons you need to do single target DPS, for the bosses you need to need a combination for the hidden layers because there the mobs are even stronger. So when we look at the different combinations in here, we have a lot of AoE combinations. So our helmet, the brace of the ancestors, let our Lacerate deal the damage to the whole group of mobs, not just one. So we have the Sundered legacy in here to make our cooldown for the Wrath very short, and of course have a fire aura that does AoE damage as well. We have the Sellenas iron for our leap, so that our leap is dealing AoE damage as well as a field on the ground. And we have the Hearth hook as our chain spear can do bleed damage now, and we can easily kill with that skill a whole group of mobs. In addition, we need the single target damage to clear out the bosses at the end of the dungeon. So we're going into some damage multiplicators, which always helps our primary attack to deal the most damage. So our primary attack is Lacerate, we take the Rending Bite. We get another bleed here. Bleed is essential for the Falling Thunder because that one let us deal just 30% more damage once a bleed is on the enemy. The issue is the Rending Bite is just single target focused. It will not spread on the whole mob group. With the helmet, it will stick on the one enemy, so that's why we need the Hearth hook chest to spread it to the whole group. And yeah, we have another essence for our leap, the Metal Mine. It helps us with another damage boost of 20% once we leap for 4 seconds. And we have the Nature's Tempest, the shoulder, which gives us again, once the Wrath is activated, an additional attack per primary attack with a good amount of damage here. Yeah, how does it work? The bleed buff, this is most essential because, as already explained, the Rending bite and the Hearth hook. So for you dealing 2 dots on the enemy, which is a nice additional damage, and you are always up on your bleed, permanent bleed on the enemy. So the Falling Thunder works always with a 30%, and with a very short cooldown on the Sundered Legacy, you get the maximum out of this bleed buff. And lastly, this is really important for the open world farm, the tower, you need to be fast. So what we take care of here is that we have a sprint. As we do not use a skill sprint, we just have our Wrath. We take the Sundered Legacy because it has a hidden sprint. As soon as you activate the Wrath and do a primary attack, do a leap or anything, you get a 20% speed buff. And we have the leap itself. It's really cool for the open world because if you dash on an enemy with the leap and the whole group was on maximum life, which is normally always the case on open world, you get most of the cooldown already reduced from your leap, so you can use it very frequently. You can nearly hop from enemy group to enemy group and get a lot of movement speed by that. So we are low resonance, means we do not push too much money into all of the reforged stones. We take what we get and we try to be as good as possible in PvE to get many reforged stones. But it will not work in our favor all of the times. So we do not have 8 times beneficial effect durations. We do not have all of this crazy stuff. So we really need a Vithus. A Vithus helps us to get a longer beneficial effect duration, which is good for our Wrath of the Berserker. And in this case, as we do not go with any additional essence for attack speed, we do not go for the Frenzy here, we take the 4-piece Vithus because we have our leap. Our leap is giving us a buff, a 20% buff, and every time we leap, we get the 4-piece Vithus buff activated. So this is cool. We are always on those 30% additional attack speed. And in combination with that, as we have a good movement speed with our Wrath already, we go with the Issatar because it gives us another 30% movement speed buff, which not combining one by one, it's not a 50%. If you combine it, it's got like 40%ish or something. But with that, you have nearly the full potential out of the 4-piece Issatar already. And when we look later on at the gems, we will have another gem here, which can be played free to play, which gives us another movement speed buff. And with that, we nearly get to 100% of the Issatar 4-piece buff, the 25 additional damage, 25% additional damage, nearly all of the time. So what we have, we do not have much crit. We go with high basic damage. And if it crits, it really hurts a lot. So that's why this build works pretty good when you are in combination with the Crusader. Then you are really rocking it because so much damage. But this helps you for the mob groups you want to kill fast to deliver heavy damage in a good amount of time with many different hits. So let's start with the most critical point, the gems, because in here it really shows the difference, that's at least what the people think, from low resonance to high resonance player. For PvE, this is not completely true. Many really do not get how you deal damage in PvE, so having all of the 5-star gems, they think now they're good in PvE, and that's not even the case. Yes, there are some gems definitely helping you, but with 1-star and 2-star gems, you can deal a crazy amount of damage. So let's start with the S-tier gems, which in my opinion are most relevant for you as a free-to-play. It's a Seleds. It's a free 24%, if you max it of course, a damage boost, which is always active when you defeat an elite enemy, which is really nearly always the case if you go open world or the lairs or even in the dungeons. So this buff is nearly always active. The Berserkers, same, 24% at max, always active damage boost. We have the Pebbles, which is a beneficial effect duration, a gem which helps you to get your abilities active all of the times. The Fang, it's pretty good, 24% again, increasing damage buff, which can be achieved by the battle pass, which you might not have, then if you don't have a battle pass, okay, forget about these gems. But if you're a low spender, at least go with a battle pass, then this might be a good gem for you. The Pain Clasp, really effective, 24% damage buff again as soon as an enemy has a dot on it. So when we look at our Fire Aura, this one is active like always. The Torment, rank 1 gem, really cool because you have like, I don't know, 30 or 40% primary damage dot on the enemy, which means 30 or 40% additional damage. That can crit independently, of course. So really effective gem when you deal a lot of single damages, like with the Fire Aura, Fire Trail. If you go with additional dots, anything that crits procs this gem, so it's really effective. The Viper, it's the same functionality, but it activates on every hit, so even more effective. But it's a 2-star gem, so a bit more difficult. And then we have the Pain of the Subjugation. This is a gem effective for a loss of control. So as soon as you deal a loss of control, again, 24% max, I think, damage. And this build, this works pretty good because we have our leap. And our leap is reducing the enemy movement speed by 50%. So as soon as you hop on someone, as you leap dash on them, this gem is fully active. When we look now at the A-tier gems, there are some really nice candidates here as well. We have our Chain Death, which is cool. It's just not that effective for the bosses, but everyone getting hit with the helmet, of course, of the Lacerate that spreads the damage to all of the enemies. Everyone that get hit procs this gem, and you can get a cool damage boost out of it as well. Besides the regular, I boost my primary damage to a very high level. You can go with additional damages, like the Igneous Scorn. It's one of the gems that just every 6 seconds deals a burst damage. So an AoE damage to all of the enemies, triggered just not all of the time, but every 6 seconds. This is pretty cool because it can help you in the open world and in the hidden lairs and dungeons really good, and it's even effective on bosses, of course. We have the Carsens. Carsens is a pure I boost your attack damage gem, which helps you because our primary attacks are the most damage dealer we have here. So good for this build. Power and Command is a overall general good gem. It gives 24% at max for a switch of primary and skill damage, and whenever it switches, it can remove a loss of control on you. So that gem might even be relevant if you're looking into PvP content. It could help you. It's not that good there because the damage gets drived, but it's not that bad as well. And then we have the Lament. The Lament is really cool because it boosts your crit chance. Overall, very, very, very valid gem. It's just very, very expensive. And the issue is it's not permanently up. So I like more the gems for free-to-play that works nearly permanently and not just in some conditions where you might not need it. So if you run through a dungeon and you hit your first mob, this gem procs, and when you reach the boss, it's off. And then it needs another 10 seconds to activate again. Most of the time it works, definitely, so it's really a good gem. But I think for only PvE reasons, it's not as yet. Okay, and lastly, some from the B tier. We have the Cutthroat. It's a really cool gem to boost your crit chance as well. You just need to be behind the enemy, so dashing is essential here, and you need to be very aware of your own position in the gem, so it's difficult to play. We have the Lightning Core. As we do a lot of primary attack damage, this thing fills up step by step, and once reached a critical limit, it goes as the Igneous Scorn with a burst damage to all of the enemies, same as the Defiant Soul, just a different trigger. When you get hit, you deal this burst. And lastly, the Volatility shard again, when you kill an enemy, again it explodes and deals a burst. So those burst gems always work. they just do not scale as good. That's why they are lower tiered. So everything that scales with the primary damage and can grow with you is more on the S tier. Those are the gems I suggest to you. They're really nice gems. They are, most of them, easier to achieve and can really boost your PvE damage a lot. Okay, open world farm. You see, we always have a speed buff active on us. We are pretty fast. Our wrath is nearly 100% up. It's not always, and it's not necessarily needed to be 100% up, because the Issatar buff and the wrath of the Berserker buff will switch, and one of them is always active. So we keep our permanent movement speed. We initiate with the leap, because then we get a cool cooldown reduction on it when everyone is at max HP. And we hop from camp to camp. This makes really fun and it's really effective. And whenever we have a higher enemy, like a yellow or a blue one, we try to use our Sunder to give us another 30% damage boost to kill them very fast. Same goes for the hidden lairs. The point is, you need that damage, which is a bit too much for the open world, but you need it for the hidden lairs. Because here the enemies have a higher HP, they scale pretty tough, and they deal more damage. So the point that we have a Lacerate here is mostly due to the dungeons and the hidden lairs, because we need a bit of a heal. The Lacerate with the spread of the damage really lets us heal up really good. As soon as we don't get a hit that nearly gets 80 or 100% of our HP, we stay alive. This is no problem. As you see, we can kill the boss really fast. So even solo in the hidden lairs is no problem for you at all. Dungeons next. Many builds focus around doing a hell of a damage or on being a supporter. So this build here is a mix of it. You are free to play, so normally you just run behind the other players which deal the heavy blow. But in this case now you will be able to deal damage as well. So soloing kind of an idol here in the Tomb of Fahir is possible. And you can always support your team members with a Sunder skill to let them deal even additional damage as well, not just you. So as you see, you can kill the group of mobs. You can deal the damage to the single target. You're able to do this job by your own. And finally, a glimpse on the tower, because tower is again a different requirement. You need to be fast because the enemies die really easy. So with the dashing and the hidden sprint from the Wrath and the Issatar, you can run through this tower really fast. And as you see, you can kill the tower boss even pretty easy. Okay, I hope this free-to-play guide for the PvE content of Diablo Immortal helps you. Barbarian is best class to tackle PvE content in my opinion. It is very flexible. So if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. Subscribe if you like to get more content like this, and have a really nice day and fun playing this game as free to play. See you soon!